people, that's probably a little bit racist. But if we're talking about something like this, like I wouldn't personally care. Yeah, let's watch the Greek uh video. Did you watch about Greece debts? No, I haven't. Let's watch it.
Greece.
There's actually a really good video on the European debt crisis, and they go a
The
lot
birthplace of Western
to talk about
civilization,
Greece.
democracy, philosophy, theater, flourisher of mathematics, the sciences, and the arts. Ancient Greece is the backbone to our modern day culture in the West. Sure, you can say Roman culture is our backbone, but ancient Rome was heavily influenced by the Greeks. But nowadays, the Greeks are known for a lot less. Good food, Orthodox Christianity, nice coasts, and beautiful cities are what Greece shows off today.
And
I'm
conflicts with
just kidding.
Turkey.
You know I'm talking about the debt crisis. Modern day Greece's economy is what many people see when they look at the country. For a
Yikes.
high income economy, they have an insane debt to GDP ratio and the worst unemployment rate in the EU. So this begs the question, a question that is more economic than usual.
And it's still probably
What
the same,
is
right?
the future of Greece? Before diving into the economy of the Greeks, we really
So here's my understanding of the debt crisis. Greece and other places in Europe started getting some of the same interest rates than places like Germany, which has very low interest rates because as a country, Germany is very financially responsible, while Greece, maybe not so much. So while joining the euro, countries like Greece got hyper excited about their new interest rates. And yeah, now we're here. Greece has a lot of debt. It's really bad, and I don't see how they can climb out of so much debt. My dad flew the Confederate flag. He opposed segregation and put blacks in high positions in his church and his business. He stopped flying it after he learned more about the Confederacy's views. Wow, that's actually very interesting. I love those kind of stories. It's a sick flag with inspiration from the Habsburg Spanish flag, cross of Burgundy. Florida's flag is basically that same flag. Yeah, yeah. It has the same cross, right? It's cool. It's cool. It's absolutely cool, man. I think Hispanics deserve our flag. No
need
hate
to
on that.
examine their geography and modern history. The country has 5 major geographic features that have defined Greek history forever. 1. Its Mediterranean climate means that it was an early cradle of civilization. No pesky winters, but still enough of a winter to freeze the bugs every season.
Turks used to laugh about Greek economy. Karma hit them
2.
hard.
Greece is split into many pieces by the Pindus Mountains. Its rugged nature meant that for the first 400 years it was never united, and that large-scale agriculture was never feasible until the modern day. 3. Its peninsular shape meant that for most of history, the Greeks were able to project their power out.
Yeah, I remember when we watched the Geography Now video and we saw that this little claw thing that's pretty super, it's hella funny. Just Greece has a very
Focusing on
strange
its
shape.
navy. 4. The thousands of Greek islands further increased that
Thousands.
naval skill, while making the Greeks a very mercantile and trading people between the islands. And 5. Its geographic position at the edge of Europe connecting the Black and Mediterranean seas meant that even during times of Greek weakness, some other power would help it survive just to access that position. The geographic location and features meant in some form or another the Greeks have lived there for almost 3,000 years throughout all the ups and downs of Greek history, and there are a lot of both. The Greeks have never stopped living there, and it's very unlikely they ever will. Greece has way too much history to cover in this, so let's fast forward. Greek city-states thought of a bunch of stuff like philosophy and art. Persia invades and mostly fails, then all the Greeks fight. Sparta, no. Thebes, no. Macedon wins the war, and Alexander gets great and makes Greece great, but instead dies, letting the Romans invade. Then it's chill until Rome splits in half, but wait, the Greeks pretty much own this half now, and they Byzantine it up, until they're Seljuk Turked, Crusaded, and Ottoman. The Ottomans kicked the Greeks out of Constantinople, which is now Istanbul. I hate being Ottoman, said the Greeks, and they revolted tons of times with no success. And that brings us to 1821. This time was different. Inspired by the French Revolution, the Enlightenment, and liberal nationalism, the Greeks rebelled for independence. To be honest, it was not going well for the Greeks until the British, French, and Russians wanted a little slice of that region.
Yeah, because, at this time, everyone wanted a piece of the Ottoman Empire, particularly the UK and Russia. So, Greece just benefited from that. As someone who's black, people waving the Confederate flag doesn't get me pissed. It's the US. You can do what you want. But people who are legit racist make me sick, honestly. Probably I would agree. I'm interested. It's interesting the English St. George flag was seen as racist since many far right types used it. However, it's been reclaimed and it's seen now as a good thing. I'm happy for that. I didn't know actually it was considered a racist symbol.
They sent aids in loads to Greece, which marked the
Yep.
first bailout in Greek history. It resulted in bankruptcy, but the war brought in a new, fresh Greek kingdom. Another loan was given to them to let the kingdom take shape, but it was quickly spent and Greece went
So
bankrupt
that's where
again
it comes
in
from, huh?
1843. Another bankruptcy in 1893 due to corruption and overspending on infrastructure.
We usually don't know the origin for all of these things, Like, for example, when we watched Kraut's Russian authoritarianism video, a lot of it came from the Mongols, right? And that's how it started. Now it started, and I didn't knew this, from loans given to Greece to fight the Ottomans.
Both of these were largely paid off by other European
There's
powers.
Prussia.
A series of wars and negotiations eventually gave Greece most of its core lands by 1923. Shortly after the Great Depression, the fourth bankruptcy in modern Greek history happened. But I mean, who didn't go bankrupt?
Yeah, we were all bankrupt.
Greece
Come
was
on.
bouncing between kingdom, republic, military regime, and dictatorship. The Third Hellenic Republic was established after the military regime collapsed following Turkey invading Cyprus. But the Greek economy was actually doing fairly well, largely subsidized by the USA against the nearby Soviets. They had a lower debt to GDP ratio than nations like the UK, Canada, and France.
Wow.
So, in 1981, they joined the European communities, later becoming the EU, which allowed their economy to grow even faster from investments in infrastructure to a larger tourism and shipping market. Greece officially joined the eurozone in 2001, leaving the drachma behind. Little did they know that 8 years after joining the eurozone, the Greeks would suffer their biggest crisis in recent history. But we'll leave that for later.
Oh,
Despite all
come
the
on.
hullabaloo about the Greek economy, it is still an advanced, industrialized one, although fairly small. Greece is not a developing nation, nor is it really poor. Of course, recent years have questioned this, but realistically, Greece is still a high-income nation. It's
Yeah.
the richest state in the Balkans, richer than all the other countries put together, and a top investor in states like Albania, Macedonia, Bulgaria, and Romania. How is the economy structured, however? 3% of GDP is made up of agriculture. Wide-scale agriculture is hard to pull off in Greece just due to the ruggedness.
Yeah, I mean, can you blame them? Of course not. It's bad in Greece when a racist neo-Nazi party rises up and becomes the third most popular. Look up the Golden Dawn party. Holy shit. Nazis in Greece? That's pretty interesting. Damn. The Progressive Golden Dawn is a banned far-right ultra-nationalist political party in Greece. Golden Dawn rose to prominence during Greece's financial crisis of 2009, of course, becoming the third most popular party in the Greek parliament. Holy crap. Its support has since plunged, and it failed to enter parliament in 2019 election. Well, the criminal trial against the leaders frequently described as the largest Nazi trial since Nuremberg. Wow. Holy crap. They made a sick song. Sick in a good or a bad way,
This climate of wildly different elevations, pockets of different temperatures, humidities, and soil type, and the thousands of islands, many having a different microclimate, allows the growing of specialty crops. Besides staple grains, Greece is a huge producer of olives, peaches, grapes, oranges, and watermelons. 12% of the economy is from industry, with mines in the mountainous north building infrastructure and ports on the coast. Greece has plenty of metallic raw material, but with a small population and diverse geographies, it meant economies of scale never worked.
Yeah,
Traditional
exactly.
Greek industry like textiles are now outsourced, meaning the manufacturing industry couldn't really take off. Its main industrial products are cement, pharmaceuticals, rebar, soft drinks, and cheese. That leaves 85% of the Greek economy to the service sector. Many industries such as finance, telecommunications, cuisine, education, and especially
Finance,
healthcare
that's
are common.
funny.
In fact, Greece has the highest doctor-to-patient ratio out of anywhere in the EU. But there are two major industries in Greece's service selection: shipping and tourism. The Greeks' mercantile nature still hasn't run out. The Greeks play the role of the middleman in international shipping. Their proximity to Europe, the Middle East, the Suez Canal, and the Black Sea means there's a lot of potential
Yeah,
partners to
and Greece basically owns a lot of the Mediterranean, particularly this part. And remember, a lot of the ships going from the Suez Canal to Europe pretty much have to go through Greece.
work with. The Greeks even have the largest merchant navy out of anywhere on Earth, even beating the US, UK, China, and Japan, punching
Wow.
far above its size. It accounts for over 15% of the entire world's
Damn.
deadweight tonnage. If you want something shipped, the Greeks will be happy to do it for you. Tourism in Greece is big, like 20.
Yeah, like holy fuck. I mean, 15% of the world's ships for a very tiny and small island. That's that's pretty peculiar. And yeah, tourism is huge. My mother visited Greece, and just as a side note, as a little story, uh, my mother wants to basically, when she dies, she wants to be buried in Greece. She has a very close connection with Greece, and why? I don't know. I don't think we have Greek ancestry. Maybe, I don't know. What do you guys think? Huh? But she loves Greece.
5% of their GDP and 19% of their labor force big. Over 30 million tourists visited Greece in 2019. That's almost 3 times their actual population.
Like
Ever since the
Iceland, for
2004
example.
Athens Olympics, Greece has been booming with tourists. Its ancient history mixed with great beaches and plenty of islands make for the perfect hook for all types of tourists.
Wow, what a
Those
long
islands
video.
just
Yeah,
make shipping
man.
and
It's
tourism
gonna be a
easy.
long stream.
Let's talk about problems though. Demographically, Greece isn't doing too hot. The 2018 population has shrunk by 100,000 since 2011 to 10.7 million. The average Greek woman has a fertility rate of 1.41, far less than the 2.1 needed to keep a stable population. They need migration in order to stay swimming. However, migrants and especially refugees face huge risks of exploitation. Low-skilled jobs are given to them, if any, not like Greece has many to give right now, and highly skilled migrants are simply not coming to Greece. The opposite is true. Highly skilled young Greeks are leaving for better opportunities in Western Europe or North America, creating a massive brain drain, which makes their aging crisis even
Worse.
Right now, Greece has the 7th oldest population on
Whoa.
Earth, most in their 40s to 50s. Once this generation hits
Damn, look at this population pyramid. You gotta understand that within the next 20 years, that massive gap of 40 to 50 to 60-year-olds is gonna become 60 to 80 years old. Just within the next 20 years, all of that massive bulge of people that are pretty old are gonna move upwards. And I'm noticing here that they have a pretty large male surplus in the younger people's group. And I'm guessing that's basically because of migrant workers. You can see from 28 to like 0, there's a pretty substantial male surplus, which again, it's interesting.
environment, Greece is going to have a serious issue. They'll have money to deal.
A good friend of mine is it's Greek. His grandparents grew up under the German occupation and the post-war dictatorship, moving to the UK in the 80s. Damn, must have been pretty tough. I don't get it either. We can agree, disagree, that's fine, but I would never harm anyone because of the way they choose to believe in. Yeah, identity politics is pretty stupid.
With it.
That's one of the things I dislike about America the most,
It just isn't their own money, which leads us to the reason you probably clicked on this video.
The debt crisis. Holy shit. Oof. Oh my god, what the fuck was that? What? What a fucking idiot, dude. The guy is like throws the water at the woman. What a coward bitch move, There we have the nationalists, right?
As the 2009 financial recession was sweeping throughout the world, it hit the European system. The EU was hit harder than the USA, especially the eurozone. And
yeah, a lot of economies, like the Greek one, relied on borrowing money, and in 2008, when the US happened, when the housing bubble and all the issues the US had, basically banks around the world stopped lending so much money and they wanted that debt paid back. But the Greek economy couldn't really function so well without all that borrowed money, you know? It couldn't function. So the Greek economy was hit so hard. And that's my understanding. I don't have an economics degree. I was gonna get an economics degree, but I just didn't want it all the trouble. Uh, but you know, let's see.
Only as strong as its weakest
To be fair, identity
link, and its
politics
Southern European
isn't
countries
exclusive
like
to the US.
Spain,
I would argue that
Italy,
identity
and most
politics in
importantly,
Canada is
Greece
way
very
worse.
hard. Unlike
Maybe,
Greece's other
I don't know about
bankruptcies where it could
Canadian
devalue
politics.
its currency and apply for loans, this time Greece did not have control over their currency. The debt to GDP ratio shot up to over 170%. The unemployment rate rose to over 20%, over 40% among young Greeks, and
Wow.
the Greek GDP shrunk by 25%. Greece was losing money while taking out more and more loans. To make matters even worse, controversies at the start of the crisis over Greece not exactly reporting its public debt percent accurately
Wow.
made borrowing rates increase, and the country had no way to pay back its new loans. In 2017, the debt was around 318 billion euros,
Oh, God.
or about 30,000 euros per citizen. That's
Wow.
a lot of money. The Greek population was taxed at a rate of Scandinavian countries with none of the benefits, which caused mass protests and even more Greeks to leave the country. Bailout loans from the International Monetary Fund, European Central
Canada is way more liberal than the US. Well, that's right, but identity politics is not exclusive to liberal people, you know?
Bank and Eurogroup were given in 2010, 2012, and 2015. Greece officially became the first developed nation to unsuccessfully pay back an IMF loan in 2015, not doing so until 2018. And despite 50% cuts on these debts and Greece making fair progress, Greece still remains in a big euro of debt. The Greek debt crisis quickly became a German problem. Germany was the main architect of the eurozone, although France played a key role as well. But Germany is the one in charge. The
You don't want
ECB
to
is
get those
headquartered in
Frenchmen
Frankfurt,
angry.
and Germany is the most populous and rich country in the eurozone. It has taken on a role as the core nation of the euro and the financially responsible parent to the rest. With the Greek debt crisis putting heavy pressure on the euro, Germany was the one who tried to fix it. Greece became a German debate topic. Germany gave loans, paid loans, approved Greek budgets, gave advice through their own bankers or the ECB. The Germans were forced to. The Eurozone gives the Germans much more financial power.
Yeah, because if Greece falls down, if Italy falls down, if Spain falls down, the entire European Union falls down. Sorry, not the European Union, the eurozone, which there's a difference. It's just a really messy situation. I'm not saying it's not, but Justin Trudeau is legit all about identity politics. That's one of his main political agendas. Honestly, I'm not very into Canadian politics, so I couldn't tell. Hans Gesse Flem. I don't speak German, brother. Not where I live. I live in the Caribbean, so yeah, it would be different.
Than they should have for a country their size, essentially becoming the third largest currency zone. Germany will try everything to keep it from cracking, something which clearly hasn't been successful.
Yep.
If Greece were to totally default and collapse from debt, the Eurozone would crumble. If Greece were to leave the Eurozone in replacement of the drachma, other states would likely follow and it would crumble. German-Greek and EU-Greek relations are strained. It's not wildly unpredictable to see a future where Greece is tossed out of the Eurozone. What Greece still has to keep the EU and Eurozone invested in it is what made the modern Greek state in the first place, its geographic position.
Money,
Frankly,
you know?
its location is going to determine its future much more than the debt crisis will. It is the edge of the EU, and across the Aegean Sea, you will find the biggest Greek headache for the next century, Turkey. I'm sorry to the Greeks watching, but in a one-on-one conflict between the nations, Turkey would win any day. Their population, overall economy, army, and navy are all bigger just by sheer size. What Greece does have is more allies than it.
Friends.
Although both are in NATO, Turkey seems to drift away.
You know, guards and all the... But aren't both members of NATO? Obviously, all the Europeans would back up Greece, so, you know, no hate on that. Depends where in the Caribbean, unless you're... Justin Trudeau should quit politics and become a TikToker. That's funny.
Away from the US allied sphere every day. Turkey would love to control the Aegean Sea. It would make them the official crossroad between land and sea in the
Yep.
region. Turkey has been more aggressive in controlling the eastern Mediterranean, something I'm sure the Ottomans in ghost form are smiling at. The islands just off the Turkish coast are most at risk to an attack. Since 2018, there have been 2 cases of Turkish Coast Guard ships ramming into the Greek Coast Guard ships, and 4 cases of Turkish aircrafts harassing Greek ones, causing at least 1 death in the process.
Yeah, in Nebula, Real Life Lore had a really good video about the conflict.
To survive, or at least keep at sea, Greece must leverage the EU countries against Turkey and do everything it can to lower its debt. While Greece is unlikely to leave the EU, a rising Grexit sentiment about leaving the eurozone is catching some steam. If this divorce were to happen, Greece would need to find some friends outside of the EU. The most obvious answer to this question is Russia. Both nations are Orthodox Christians, most Greek imports come from Russia, and Russia has been looking...
Oh, no, man. Do not tell me that Greece is going to go the Russian way, you know? NATO has basically let America do 90% of the work.
for
That's
warm
kinda
water ports
true.
for ages. Russian finance would likely split Greece off from the EU, losing most of its major allies in the
Oh.
process, however. It would allow Russian
Which
ships
is
to pass
especially fucked up when you consider everything that's going on with Russia.
the Aegean, and both nations could make some serious money
God
if the Russian
damn,
future
bro.
is prosperous. Greece needs to make a choice to defend against Turkey, stay with the rich but aging EU, or swap over to the poor, more militarily advanced, and also aging Russia. There's no denying it. The modern Greek state has been plagued with debt ever since 2009. It has been a serious crisis to Greek society and the foundations of the eurozone. Germany must do whatever it can to stop the eurozone from collapsing in on itself, starting with Greece. The service-based economy of Greece has 3 whirlwinds coming at it. 1 is the insane debt crisis that the Great Recession, no control over its currency, and hiding its initial debt Greece is in. 2 is the demographic collapse of Greece through its crazily old population or young workforce leaving the country. And 3 is the aggressive Turks next to them looking to take a bite out of a Greek island or two, taking the Greek shipping industry for themselves. But despite this, Greece still remains a high-income developed nation.
Yo. Damn, what a way to end the video, right? It's like, yo, basically Greece is financially fucked, politically fucked, demographically fucked, but hey, you know, they're still kind of wealthy, so good for them.
Its beautiful geography and history ensures that tourism remains a huge industry in the country, and it's that same geography that has allowed Greeks to stay living there for 3,000 years. Greek history has had plenty of ups and downs before, but the Greeks have always recovered. It just looks like in the near future, they're entering one of their many downs. Since you watched the whole video, consider liking.
Oof, man. What a fucking mess. Damn, I feel really bad for Greeks, especially because it's such a special place for me and my family. But hey, you know, it is what it is. I support isolationism. Oh, no, guys. I think there is a growing sentiment in the US that we should leave NATO as a result. Other nations need to start doing more before NATO collapses. I really hope NATO doesn't collapse because Russia would be, you know, the only people who would benefit from that is Russia, China, and all the NATO enemies, per se. I don't think it's a good idea that NATO collapses. I think a lot more people across Europe are becoming anti-European Union. In the UK, it's pro-European people and anti-European Union, which is a kind of a weird mix